Bare knuckle gypsies meet the Zodiac killer. See what happens when caravan towing loiterers confront an invisible hunter who may not have even existed. Bare knuckle gypsies meet the Zodiac killer. If you wish to see wild doggers in heat square toe to toe with a Trekkie in a gimp suit, go see this review. Bare knuckle gypsies meet the Zodiac killer. In the late 1960s, early 1970s, a San Francisco cartoonist becomes an amateur detective obsessed with tracking down the Zodiac killer, an identified individual who terrorizes Northern California with a killing spree. Underwhelming at the box office, David Fincher's Zodiac is by far his most underrated film and is a fascinating take on California's more myth than man Zodiac killer. True to form for Fincher, the confirmed killings of the Zodiac are reconstructed here with fetishistic detail. This is the first act, recalling the key events involving the Zodiac killer between 1969 and 1974, and as absurd as things got, remember that this is all true and did happen, and Fincher portrays it with utmost reverence and choice moments of black comedy. After these events, the story then focuses on Robert Graysmith, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who would go on to write one of the definitive books on the Zodiac killer. This is where Zodiac really comes into its own and does something not many films like it have done. It focuses on what the lack of conclusion to a murder case can do to those who have become closely involved with it. The results are apparently paranoia and an arc of intrigue slowly malforming into obsession, and Gyllenhaal pulls this one off really well. All the actors are good, really, apart from Robert Downey Jr., who is just playing Robert Downey Jr., and that was distracting. What else can I say about 2007's Zodiac, apart from that it's not 1971's The Zodiac Killer, as well as that it has fantastic cinematography, insane amounts of detail in the art direction, and miraculously keeps your attention focused for all of its near 3 hours of running time. It's a fantastic film and I highly recommend it. 4 30-something friends escape their urban lifestyles for the weekend and take to the open road on their motorbikes. Vroom vroom. When they set up camp near an abandoned caravan, a childish prank soon leads to a series of violent and terrifying events and a battle for survival. Travelers is an exploitation film in its most fundamental form. It uses its subject matter of gypsies as a launchpad and jumps into several different movies such as Deliverance, Easy Rider and Rambo, whilst following the great British cinematic tradition of making everything look as ugly and colourless as naturally possible. Shot in HD and barely colour graded, if at all, Travellers looks dirt cheap. However, it is never too dark and I could always see the action clearly. It's just not all that appealing to look at. Might work for a social realist picture, but let's get real ourselves and acknowledge that this film is far from concerned in portraying things as they really are. The focus is more on who the real savages are and portrays the travellers as the ones who really have life figured out. This approach can either be laughable or enduring, depending on who you are, but this film definitely glosses over the more unsavoury and downright criminal elements of traveller life. You don't know, Can. You don't know. You don't. Fuck off. So Travellers, of fucking course, is not social realism, but it is a solid Genoir picture. The picture quality might not be much, but the framing is inventive and the locations are suitably dense in foliage, making for an authentically isolative atmosphere. And that's the best thing I can say about Travellers, that it has a great atmosphere to it. So, in conclusion, Travellers is a solid British Genoir picture that I can easily recommend to anyone interested in either UK crime, backwoods horror or biker films. Bare knuckle gypsies meet the Zodiac killer!